Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And today we have a very special treat for you guys. We are interviewing with Lena Waithe, creator of The Chi. We are getting into all of the details behind the scenes and in the writer's room and just digging into Lena's brain. So, guys, this is such a treat. Please enjoy it.
You'll love it.
So, hello.
The
Hey,
It's
person
hey,
that,
so
y'all.
good to see you, to speak with you. As always, we are always graced by your presence. It's amazing.
Oh, so happy
Um,
to see y'all again. It's been a minute.
it has a good little
That's
minute.
been a
well,
minute.
first, I
And
want to say I thank you for that poster, and you were dead on with the message that you sent.
Look,
yes,
I'm
I
always looking out.
absolutely. And I just wanted to kind of open up by just giving you some flowers, first of all, because you have been a major reason why we are still doing what we're doing in the way that we do it in terms of our, cast interviews and whatnot. You were one of our first ever, like, real big, cast interviews. And so I just wanted to
Mhm.
bring that up, give you your flowers, and let you know how much you have impacted our channel.
And
Oh,
let me do a writer on that as well. First of all, I'm gonna give you the whole store. But secondly, I want to let you know that you're one of the reasons that we reached 2,200,000 views. And that might be a small number for some people, but that's a huge number for us.
so that's not small to me.
Two,
How many? How many views?
2
2.2
million.
million.
Yeah, 2.2
That's
million.
huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Congratulations, y'all. That's amazing.
Hey,
thank you,
Thank
and
you.
giving you your flowers on that one because you helped trigger us. You put a battery in our back since our
Yes, you
first
did.
interview with you.
Yes, you did. Yes, Y'all you are so did.
Mm-hmm.
consistent. Y'all are so amazing. I love watching. Y'all. I've been watching y'all's reviews as much as y'all been watching the show, and I think that to me is like Oh. I think that just speaks to, I think this particular show and also I hope, I mean, I feel like other shows are doing it too, just like other showrunners or actors, whoever has the capacity.
mhm.
But I think it's just been such the thing I love the most about doing the show. Obviously, I love the cast, I love my writers, I love the crew, I love everybody involved in the show and have like grown up with them and we're very much a family, as I think you guys can tell.
Yep,
But we feel like y'all are a part of our family. We feel like you guys
We
we are.
are a part of the show. It's like, just because you're not like in it, it's like you guys are of it,
Yep.
and we don't get to exist without people like you. So we're super grateful. That's why I want to make sure I shouted y'all out and make sure I hit y'all with some posters. I still got a couple more to sign, for some people, and that was just a joy. Hey,
are.
hey, hey, there you
Yes.
go.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so
Yes,
much.
Hmm.
so welcome,
Absolutely.
so
Okay.
All
welcome, so
right.
welcome.
So let's talk The Shy. I can't even believe it's the final season. That final episode really pulled on the heartstrings.
Yeah.
And it felt just like, oh, so good. It was a bittersweet, ending with it being the final episode, but it felt so good to know that everybody got like a positive outcome and Bakari didn't die.
I know y'all weren't gonna let me live that down. So I had to keep him alive, or else I was gonna have something
Oh,
some people to answer to.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So,
So
but that was such a gift, the fact that everybody just sort of just embraced him and felt like he was their son, their nephew,
hmm
the kid that they
hmm
see in the neighborhood. He really started to reflect that, and we sort of thought, okay, what ending do we want to give him? One that is, he got his comeuppance a little bit,
Yeah.
but
hmm
but
hmm
we decided. I joke and say we instead of going Menace to Society, we switched it up and went Jason's Lyric.
Okay.
that's a good one.
Good one.
And I'm glad you did. Bakari is one of those characters that you started out like one that just wring his neck, and then you grow to
hmm
love him over the years, and it's like, oh, he was an unexpected one that I grew to love.
I know. I
Me
think it's
too.
when he got a girlfriend. Something about when a character gets a girlfriend. We did that with Reg too. It humanizes someone.
That's real
When,
life.
when, yeah, you know what I mean. Like when somebody is dating someone, you see them through a different lens. People
Yes.
always joke, "It's like does Barack Obama win the presidency without Michelle?" It's this
Mm.
idea
Mm.
of who are you with and who loves you, and because Lene is such a loving, sweet character who obviously was taken in by Kevin's family, which is very reflective of what happened with my grandmother and my mom. There was always this woman who didn't look like my mom or my aunt or my uncle, but she was like my aunt. And I was like, I'm so confused. My mom was like, oh, when she was young, your grandmother took her in because her parents couldn't afford to take care of her and look after her. And so that was something I learned very young, that this woman who I just thought was like another sibling to my mother and my aunt and my uncle, they were like, no, your grandmother took her in when she was very young. And so that kind of stuff seeps into the show because it's just a part of our DNA in Chicago and just our family. You take in kids, man. Grandparents raise kids. It takes a village.
Mm-hmm. And that was actually one of my questions, because I was going to ask you about some of these later seasons. Like, were you drawing on some personal experiences and the stuff that you added to the show?
Yeah, I think especially with some of the stuff with the kids and raising of kids, my family, there's definitely been scenarios where kids may not have been the focal point of the priority for some parents, not because they are bad parents, but I think just because of circumstances or things that were happening. And so I witnessed in my own family where certain family members would take kids in and spend time. I would go to my aunt's house every weekend to kind of give my mom a break. Like it was just, we used to sort of being shuffled around the houses, but it wasn't this bad thing. It was just sort of a different experience, or we would get reared differently at one person's house than the other, and we learned certain lessons at one person's house. That's the thing. Sometimes certain adults are more disciplinarians. Some are more like cool, and I kind of had all of it. But I think that's really what it was. I really was, my mom was a single mom living in my grandmother's house. Also, I grew up in a 3 generational household. So that was something that really comes through at the end. I know you guys are talking about why the parents living there. And it's just like, but I'm a kid that grew up in the house with my grandmother. And so that is not weird to me. You know what I'm saying? Now, mind you, it was her house. But still, it was like, it wasn't like she berated my mom or whatever. But it's just that that's sort of what our circumstances were, is that my mom had to be living with her mom, with me and my sister, and it just wasn't a weird thing for us. I'm sure I got frustrated from my mom sometimes, but
Look, I just got to jump in there and just say,
please.
for full disclosure, I've been in a 3 generation household too. Like, even though I was saying they need to get their own house and everything, when I was talking about Darnell and all them,
Riley, yeah.
I just was saying, because time with divorcee, my mom, my son, me. So I've been there.
So you know.
So I know. But I was saying that because I was thinking in terms of Emmett and Keisha, like they young and love, and when you want to walk around the household in the buff
They also
or
got four
whatever, I
kids
was
though in
like,
the house. They also got a bunch of
that's true.
kids in the
That's
house running
true. They
around.
can't. That's true. They can't do that
And
anyway.
they got a bunch of kids, and he's working at Smokies a lot. She's got a lot on her plate. So the idea of Riley, who was such a wonderful introduction, like she's someone, and then Carucci's character, Zuri, who is coming in to take. So it's like, what we really we really want to communicate is how much support one needs in raising kids, especially multiple children. And we just kind of feel like it really takes a village, and we kind of push that through a lot this season.
We're talking about Riley though. Did she
Yeah.
have a place?
You said what?
Did Riley have a place? Because that's another one of the things we were always trying
Yeah,
to.
does she have a? Yeah, I mean, like I look at it as if she does, But there have been times in which I've been dating people and I've had my own place,
Mhm.
but like I've done the thing where I've stayed at their place a lot. You know what I'm saying? They this and that, but I think because Darnell is so planted at his kid's house, like she's sort of his, like Emma's crib is his crib, so she's spending time at his crib that happens to be his son's crib. But what I like about Riley is that she has a relationship with Keisha,
Yeah.
and I think that was something we really wanted to explore more so than like Emmett being in constant combat with this woman who's dating his dad. We were like, oh, she was, and Wendy Raquel Robinson is, by the way, amazing, so lovely.
She is.
That's also just
She
her
is.
natural energy. So she's just so funny and like fun that like Burgundy took to her like very quickly. And so we kind of thought, she's like, what if your girl likes your dad's new girlfriend? And they get along really well, and she likes having her around. And we saw ways in which Riley would be there for Keisha, and give her advice, and chat with her about her kids in a way that she doesn't really get to have that with Emmett, because Emmett's running around and trying to keep Smokies going and doing all these different things. So it just really kind of it just came into the fold in a way that was very natural and organic.
I've seen some of the cast on social media, kind of like talking about their experience, specifically Barton, who plays Reg, and he
Yes.
talked how he was only supposed to be in that pilot episode, and how it evolved from there to him actually making it through to the eighth season. So I was going to ask you, are there um, any characters that you didn't intend to take that far, like outside of Reg's character, to actually see them for in a specific lens in a specific scene, but then you kind of take a liking to them and grow their character beyond what you intended?
Oh, that's a good question. Tiffany, you want to mute? I know you're traveling. You want to mute real quick?
Okay.
Thank you. I know you got it. Perfect. Thank you. I think with Bart, we wanted to introduce a new brother, without him necessarily being in combat with that brother right away. We want to have like a new dynamic for Jake because we've seen Reg a lot with Jake and what he was trying to get Jake to do, and so we were kind of like, okay, what if they, which, and obviously like was living wild and just like living by the gun, and so he was going to possibly get taken out, and so we thought, what if there's a brother that comes in that has a dark past but doesn't want Jake to go down that path, and so having the interest of Luke James and then also ultimately Jason Weaver. That kind of was, and so you have these sort of two guys who have rough past, but are saying we don't want the youth to do what we did, and so it made sense to kind of bring Bart back, obviously, and then push forward Jason's character Shaw and Luke with Trig, and that just sort of, in terms of when you add more people, you sometimes want to subtract so you don't have way too many, even though we have a ton of characters anyway. But sometimes you have to put some on the bench to bring new players in. But when Bart and I've always remained friends throughout this time, and so we were even talking about bringing him in sooner, but I just was like, no, it's not the right time, and it wasn't even, he just loved doing the show, and so he was open to it. But I thought the timing wasn't right, and then just something happened where we were, after having a long season for six, a longer season than we're used to, and so I was kind of wanted to do something wild and different. And season seven just made so much sense, and we had this idea of how he would come back, and with the music cue with him getting off the bus, it was the right time. And then for season eight, he was such a huge part of it. And he and I talk after every episode. Like, he hits me, and sometimes I try to beat him to it. But it's really all about story for us and what makes the most sense. And then sometimes for actors, if they have something they got to do, we give them space to go do that too. And it affects the story, because we'll say, okay, well, we don't have this actor for a little bit, so we'll switch that here and bring this there, and we'll do this over there. But a lot of it is like, everybody's human, everybody has opportunities, everybody has things they want to try out, and so it affects the story. But it's a good challenge for us. It forces us to adapt. It forces us to think quickly on our feet and keep our head on the swivel. So, but yeah, Bart's journey with the show has been a great one, and I love that he got a bit of a redemption at the end.
Cool.
Yeah, he was another one that you kind of love to hate, but he grows on you towards the end.
Same thing with Duda. Y'all couldn't stand Duda, but you feel like, damn, he got to get taken out.
Right.
That's the thing. We don't believe in villains or heroes. Everybody's both.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask a question about the South Side in general? Now, I've never been to Chicago, and I don't know much about the South Side, but it felt very real to me. So, the truth about the South Side, what part of that were you determined to protect? Because
That's a good, yeah, go ahead.
no, that's it. That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, I grew up in a neighborhood, like I said, I grew up in my grandmother's house. That was not dissimilar from the other houses on the block. It was a lot of elderly black people because they moved there when they were very young. Like, my grandmother moved to Chicago when she was 17,
Mhm.
and then, had kids, and then one of her children had kids. And so that's how the whole neighborhood was. There was a lot of three-generation households. So I was growing up with the children of that were the children of my mom's like friends, and so when she grew up with, so it was just the block I grew up was just very much like an old school kind of neighborhood where everybody knows everybody,
Mhm.
and I mean, go way back, and the neighbors are more like family, and so that was something that I just knew. I mean, I was in my grandma's house from like 2 to 12. And so it was just very formative years. And then my mom moved us over to Evanston, to get a bit of a different experience. and that was also really helpful and educational for me. And like I went to Evanston Township High School, I went to Shute Middle School, but before that I went to Turner Drew Academy, which is like magnet school in the south side of Chicago that my mom found. And
Mhm.
so and then I went to Columbia College in Chicago, which is like in the Loop. And so I got to experience the many different facets of the city. And I think you actually can see that in the show where we do
Yeah.
kind of venture out and find other places. But originally, my real home is the south side of Chicago, going to my grandmother's house, and that's something I just felt like people didn't really get about Chicago, is that we are very communal, and I think it actually speaks to my own personality and like how I move in the business and how I even just walk through the world. I'm very much about community, and also I think because one of my grandmother's best friends in the world was her next door neighbor Joyce, which I use that name for a master of none thing, but like they just hung out all the time. And Joyce was always at our home, and I would be over at Joyce's house. And so I knew that they were more like siblings, even though they weren't blood related. And so I think that to me is why I also picked up on this idea of blood doesn't matter.
Hmm.
It's all about how do you show up for someone. And that's something that we push through in the show as well. And it's like not to preach, but just to say, like, sometimes if somebody's related to you, there's an entitlement. There was even a conversation around it, like, why didn't Darnell give his house to one of his kids or one of da. And I'm just like, what have they done to earn it?
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
Shad has shown up
Yeah.
in his life and his community. And Darnell's like, and also he knows he has a woman and she has a kid. And so Darnell's like, yo, I know you. I spend time with you. You spend time with the people in the community. We in a brother circle. Like, I want you to have it. And so I think to me, that's something we really want to get across is just that your community can be your family. And
Absolutely.
that's okay.
That
Absolutely.
was very moving too.
Oh
That
my gosh.
scene with Shad and Darnell
Lacey
and Riley,
Weaver.
that made me well up. Yeah, yeah, he really brought it in that
He brought, also
scene.
sometimes it's like the last episode or second, like these are like real tears. It's not also like they like, and also with Shaw hit with the groomsman speech, like him, I was watching the cut, like, dang, I read it, I wrote it, I know it's here, but I'm over here getting choked because you don't know until you see it and you hear it. And obviously we were there that day. It felt so moving. I know I've heard from a lot of people that like, it felt like a real wedding. I felt like I was at a wedding. I was just like, I know. It did. It was like, are we at is this like a real thing? And there's something about like weddings anyway that make you emotional and reflective and all that stuff. And I think seeing all the cast coming back and it was just, I mean, you can't not get a little choked up.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a man. I'm gonna tell you,
I know you said, I heard you, Ron, you said them vows touched you.
they hit me. I don't mean touch.
Yo,
They hit me.
ooh, it hit you. Yes, it hit you. It's like, man, because we really wanted to just honor both of the characters and what they've been through. And Keisha's been patient, and Emmett has evolved, and I've been to weddings like that where it's people who have been together for a really long time.
Mhm.
And so the vows just really hit you in a real way because you're like, oh, y'all already stood the test of time, and now you guys are committing to each other in a different way in front of us.
Right.
And the community has a responsibility to ensure that they lift this couple up and make sure that they have what they need to go the distance. So it was really special.
Now we had a little discussion about
Discussion,
yeah,
debate.
yeah, well, I'm one man with two women, so
I know you be fighting for your life.
you know how it goes.
You
But
be coming at Tiff and Keisha. You be
I
like, why
do.
do they want to date these thugs? It's like,
Well,
look,
see, and I
look,
know, but see,
uh-huh,
these
yeah.
two didn't want Tiffany at the wedding. They didn't think she should
Mm.
have been there, and I'm thinking, why not? I mean, Tiff had the money, and I said that I thought that she would have given the wedding, paid for the wedding, regardless of what had happened. Now, I was a little upset about, Keisha not being able to kind of come to terms with the fact that, yeah, your son's father is dead, but Tiffany lost too. And so
Yeah.
that should have balanced out. And I was kind of grateful that Keisha did what I thought she should have done, which made sure that Tiffany was at the wedding.
Well, I
I would
think
like, I'm
go ahead. You
sorry.
go. You go. You go. You go.
I'm sorry. I like to correct the record because Tiara and I didn't say that she should be at the wedding because I
You
understood
said she
what
shouldn't have
Emmett
been
said.
in it.
In the
That's what it
wedding.
said.
Anyway,
She
that's
shouldn't
what
have
I
been
meant.
in it.
That's
That's
what I
why I
meant.
felt because I felt like, yeah.
That's what I meant.
Okay. I think Tiff. No, I'm sorry. I think Keisha got around to a place of wanting, allowing her to be there because of the conversation she had with Emmett, which I think Emmett was absolutely right, and that this one was going to be a part of our family for obviously for the rest of our lives because we have a child together. But I think her being in it was, I think, more of a sign of the relationship that Keisha and Tiff have built over the years in terms of them being co-parents and being sort of family, part of a blended family. And I think it was just important that Tiff be not just at the wedding, but in it. I think that to us felt right. And her walking down that aisle after having, being married, having been married to the guy, the groom, and having have a child with the groom, we always are about forward movement on the Shy. We're always about what's a new thought, what's a new idea that you just wouldn't expect, and everything from that to Rob's reaction to Tiff telling him, "Yo, I tried to sleep with Emmett." Just on some, because I'm feeling some kind of way about him and Keisha. And Rob was like, okay, well, next time, can you just talk to him, please, and not try to use your body to do that? And a lot of people, even Iman was like, I would probably go off. And I'm just like, well, what does that do? What do we have to gain? We've seen that before. What does that do for society to show them what they've already seen? And we're always having that debate. I think particularly in our community, it's sort of like, do we want to show who we are or who we can be? And I think it's nice to sort of show a mix. It's like sometimes we do show like who we are. Like Nuck will drop somebody because he's just like, look, I'm the boss. It is what it is. You got to be scared of me. And then sometimes but then we'll see the other side of him where he's with his son or he takes out Duda because he wants to be the kingpin, but he also wants to protect his, Keisha and Emmett and the families. And the truth is, it's what I've really learned over the years is that duality must be embraced. And until we can embrace it, we'll constantly be in debate and combat.
Mm-hmm. Now, I wanted to talk about having Yolanda Ross because, she worked on the show for so long, but we've seen this season that she got to work behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's super dope that you have those opportunities, when people exit the show to still keep them on in a different capacity. Mm-hmm. So can you talk about like that experience having her on screen and then behind the scenes?
Well, she's always wanted to direct, and I just am not a fan. Just for me to have an actor who's still working in the show to direct, and I know some people do it. People do it all the time. People do it at Grey's. People do it. Even though when I was on Grey's, Jesse Williams directed the episode. Obviously, he was part of the cast, but he wasn't in the cast at the time because it can be a little tricky if he's in a scene with me and then also directing. And I know people do it all the time. Spike Lee's done it, people do it. But I think for me, particularly with our cast, because I want it to be familial, because I want everybody to really, to not feel like anyone's above anyone. Even with Jacob Lattimore, yes, he's technically number one on the call sheet and he shows up in that way, but Jacob's never walking around like I'm more important than you or I'm this or that. And I never want that kind of energy. And also, by the way, I don't think Yolanda would have done that, but I think sometimes it can feel a little bit like, oh, this person's a little bit higher up because they're directing. And so because we knew this was something we wanted to explore, because we've had a couple people in our crew and cast that lost moms, and talking about that with us and what that feels like, and particularly at Emmett's age, like literally like Emmett's age and dealing with that and grappling with it. I lost a parent. I was a teenager at the time when it happened. And so we kind of wanted to explore what that is. And everybody doesn't know what it is to lose a parent yet. But when you do experience it, it's just a very unique thing. And it's something that no one can really walk you through or talk you through. Obviously, I was really young, but we wanted to explore it. And so, and Yolanda, understood that, but we also said, but we want to also give you an opportunity to direct. And she was like, oh, amazing. Great. Okay. She's like, I'll say I won't be there every day, but she was super excited about the idea of getting a chance to direct. So that's just kind of how we want it to flow. But I know other shows will do that where they'll have an actor who's still in the show directing. But for me, in the way the Shy rolls, I always want to keep everybody on the same playing field.
Yeah, I thought that was so dope. And then, when I see Robert Townsend in the credits too, I was like, oh, the goats.
Like, what? Yeah. Like when we asked, he just was so excited and gracious, and he had been a fan of the show, and him being one of Chicago's most iconic sons, and he's been so kind and has said such amazing things about not just me, but the cast, the crew, his experience, and obviously him working on The Bear, which films right next door. He's done that, and so he really is in that era, I think, of his career where he gets to kind of raise up those that have looked up to him, and we're doing it because of him.
Mm-hmm.
I used to watch the parallel, even seeing like, Reagan, aka Zaria, in the show. It would have been crazy if it worked out that she would have been in an episode with him. It didn't work out that way, but that would have been nuts. We know her as Zaria. We used to watch
Right.
Parenthood. Like, come on. So it was just an honor to have him pull up and but I remember being on the set of Girlfriends when I used to work there. The first episode back when I was working there, Debbie Allen had come in to direct the episode, and watching Mara watch Debbie direct her show, I had a similar experience in terms of just going back and forth with Robert Townsend about the episode. It's like, what? That's the blessing. Like the stats and the longest running, and we tied with the Cosby Show. That's cool, but to have a legend such as him, like, to bless the show and say it's something special, like, you can't. I don't need an Emmy. I'm like, I got one, but I don't need it for that. I don't need it for this. It's like that to me is huge because
Yeah.
he's the reason why I do what I do.
And that's
Yeah, I'm a person that
from.
looks at credits. I'm looking at the names.
Yeah.
I'm Shazamming songs. I'm like, who is this?
Come
Yeah,
on.
me
For me,
too. Me
for me
too.
to see Robert Townsend's name after knowing some of the things that he had gone through the industry, and to know that he's still there and he's still
Still here.
doing his thing, that feels good. That makes
Yeah.
that feels.
Yeah. And kind, so sweet. I speak of him the way I speak of Steven Spielberg. He's a giant that doesn't make you feel small,
Hmm.
and he's about the work and he wants everybody to do well. And if you go ask that cast like who was their favorite, they'll be like they love Yolanda obviously because there's a familiarity there, but they also have to step their game up with Robert Townsend. It's such a special journey to have him come on board.
Mm-hmm. Now I've been hogging all the questions, Tiff and Ron. I don't want to because I'm like I keep going.
I'm gonna throw it to Tiff because she hasn't had one.
I know. Go ahead, Tip.
Oh, I wanted to know. Thank you first for not killing Bakari.
You're
Because
welcome.
I was praying for him, and I wanted to know if you had an alternate ending.
Oh, did I have an alternate ending? That's a good question. We were going back and forth about the Bakari of it all, I will say. The writers, I've been putting them on blast a little bit. The writers kind of wanted to take him out. They wanted to honor the Minister Society of it all. And they also felt like, that happens and we were building toward it. And, they just were like, really, Lita? Really? Are we going to be soft right now? And I was just like, I was like, and we kind of, and you kind of see where we landed. Like, the writers got what they wanted. And by the way, I think that makes sense. We were building. People saw it. They were like, "Oh, Minister. Okay, got it. We know what's going to happen." And Minister Society is one of my favorite movies.
Mhm.
Okay, I can't go back and make Kane live. Like Kane dies. That's how that movie ends. Sorry to ruin it. No, ain't no spoiler. Um, but that makes sense for that movie. It definitely makes sense for that film, and it's a dose of reality for the audience. And so yeah, they were definitely kind of pulling me that way because I was like, yeah, you do want to be honest. And it's like, I don't know if Bakari makes it out. But then I just kind of said, I was like, look, the audience has been with us. They love this kid. I love Ahmad. That's the other problem. I be talking to Ahmad as Ahmad, and I just care about him and have known him obviously for as long as you guys have seen him on the show. And he's told the story. I've talked about. I was like, oh, you got star quality, da da da. So I think there's also a part of me. I think my heart was bleeding a little bit, and I said, what if we Jason's lyric it and you see he survived the audience? The writers were like, okay, all right, we'll get the shootout. And then it'll be a surprise. And then watching the cut a million times, Lord, we went through that finale so many. The poor editors, I'm just like, they are so done with us. But just to see like the way we reveal Kevin, the way you reveal, him being alive, the way you reveal Nina, like the pictures you see, is that Drake? Oh, they go, it's just like the picture of like Ronnie putting the flower in front of Jada's picture. There were just so many turns that we knew Bakari was gonna get a scream. You go like, oh shit, what? Because we tricked you. We were like, okay, the book is selling. You see the sister, you see Lene, and then it's like, and then boom. It was just like, oh, that's just like TV. Come on. It's just, I think that's the moment where I think the audience was like, oh, this is one of those iconic like last episodes of one of our shows that we'll never forget. And I think a lot of people, which is so special, they won't forget where they were when they were watching it. A lot of folks have told me they've rewatched the last episode a couple times, which is a huge compliment to us. It's like a part of it maybe them still holding on, but a part of it is like, no, I want to relive like some of these moments, and I'm just it's really really kind. But so yeah, I didn't have an alternative. It was like, what is it going to be? I had to make a decision, but I knew I wanted to end it with the little boys on the bikes, the new generation. I knew I wanted to do that. which has
Love that.
everybody thinking there's a spinoff, and I'm like, no,
No.
It was one of my questions.
no spinoff.
Because it
I
did seem like it
just
was passing the torch.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was. But in terms of now, this is their journey. Like now, what are they going to experience? What is their lives going to be? And as we even realized, as we were writing this season, as you guys probably picked up on, we were saying a lot about kids and phones, and their relationship to phones, which is very different. Well, obviously, I was a different kind of kid. Didn't have phones when I was a kid in the '90s, and so it's just we and a lot of the writers in the room have children, and they're a little bit younger. A lot of in our writers room we have young. There's not like we don't. There's no. Well, no, one of our writers does have like a 13-year-old. And so that was actually super helpful. But most of our writers have kids who are like 6 and 7 and like young. So, but the 13-year-old, there is a thing about what is the relationship with the phone? Like, how do you play with it? How do you deal with it? And what do they have access to? And so we were like, do we take the kids' phones away? Like, do we do that? And we were kind of like, yeah. And what the audience and you guys really also really appreciate is like the kids didn't have phones for the rest of the season. And some people kind of picked up on that. They're like, oh, what is the and it kind of made it a little bit more, it opened it up a bit. And the kids kind of got a chance to explore each other in the city and kind of become friends and playing basketball. And we wanted to make it more like our growing up because that's what we know well. And also to kind of give parents a opportunity, like maybe you can sit down with some other parents and go, what do? We got to do this together. Because if you got one kid with no phone, they are ostracized. And so we just love that communal conversation about the three moms who are very different from each other. Keisha, Patience, Tevin's mom, they're all like, she's like, I don't want to be talking to him all day. Like, what? And Patience like, no, I'm with it. And Keisha like, we got to do it together. It just felt, and then Emmett standing there as a parent, he's like, okay, what we doing? Parents got to talk to each other. So
Yep.
that was really cool.
But
Okay.
even Jake,
Yeah,
how
Jake,
the no phone party,
doing
I thought
which
that was really cool.
which is the thing I'm doing. I brought that, like, that's the thing I'm trying to do, like, I think in September. So we're going to be promoting that out here in LA. And that's more so, I think, just in terms of where I'm at and also wanting to be around folk where we are more tapped in and also people not saying, like, hey, let's take a selfie. I don't mind I don't mind it. But I think there's a level of just being in the space together and just gathering and then when you get out you can have take the sticker off, you can have your phone back. It's like just for a couple hours. But I love the idea because as I was doing that, we thought, what if Jake does something similar? And of course his girlfriend, who's a social media girl, she's like, that's dumb. Like, people gonna want to be there, you want to show it. And then the fact that they have a good time, we threw in the Chingy, one call away song with Jason was very happy about that. But it just, we show people like, guys, you can have a good time if you put your phone down too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, getting to the final season, and I know Tiffany and Tiara and I wanted to know, when was Rosalind going to get her comeuppance? Now, I don't know if you all thought about it in the for the final season, but if there's one thing that still clips me is the fact that she got away, and I'm like,
sometimes women need to get away with murder.
okay.
Okay. And also, Candy was on stage. I know Candy been on my head top, but she was doing some Broadway stuff.
Okay.
And like literally on stage. She's always doing Broadway stuff. She and I both are in the theater space. But she was on stage. I was on stage too. I did my thing. So I know about that life, when your schedule is a little not your own anymore. But she was just know Candy was a little heartbroken that she didn't get to kind of come in and do it.
Mhm.
But there was just no way in terms of what she was doing with Aunt Juliet. And we were so happy that she had finally like made her Broadway debut. Sometimes it just conflicts with scheduling, but she was still a presence in the show. I was texting with her. That's my birthday twin. Me, Candy, and Karuchi all had the same birthday. It's nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, we're birthday triplets. But I told her, I was like, you're gonna get somebody killed. She's like, what? She was like, what? Who? I was like, don't worry about it. But she was like, that actually tracks. That tracks. And it made sense. It was like, to me, she gave Nora some money, like, hey, make it seem like, he did it. He was with her. And then she walked it back because she didn't want to do shot like that. And, Nora going to hear about that through the grapevine. And so she's like, I know who to take her out so I don't get cut. But yeah, we also felt like Rosin got to lay low. She took somebody out and then she kind of had an alibi, which was going to be shot. And then that kind of went away, and she's like, "Oh no, I can't give you money that you take to do something to make sure I'm good, and then you renege." So, but Nora knew she was in trouble. Nora was like, "Yo, patience. Like, if I take this statement back, I may be in trouble." And then Nora's like, "I got you." It's like, "Yeah, but you can't protect somebody from a sniper."
That's true.
Listen, if I was gonna renege, I wouldn't have gone back to Chicago. I would have kept it moving.
Oh,
That's the
you would have
mistake.
left?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I'm just saying,
that take
if you
money to
move,
move. It takes money to move. Like
but
a
she
lot of my
was in.
people in Chicago stay there, one, because they like the city. I always say if I didn't choose this career, I'd probably still be in Chicago, to be honest with you. Because we just don't like to leave. Chicagoans don't like to go anywhere. It's real. Like a lot of my people are still in Chicago, and that's totally fine. But it also, I think, it just also is expensive to move out of the city. It's just like a thing. And so I think a lot of people kind of want to stay put. And also, I do think it's one of the greatest cities. And so, I'm not mad at everybody that stays there.
Listen, I
So,
have family that moved there to Chicago and not from there, but have claimed Chicago now as their home. So they tell me the same thing.
It's addictive.
mhm. And with what you just said, I feel like if you wanted to, you really could have kept the story going on this show. So what gave you, what was it that made you say it's time to end things?
It's interesting because I've said this publicly that I wanted to end it after season 5, and because I don't know, I just thought 5 seasons was cool. I was doing a lot of things, and I kind of wanted to just make more space for myself to do other things. But I did have a conversation with Gary Levine, who's the president of Showtime at the time, and he said the audience is still robust and they're still here, and I don't think you should hang it up right now. And so I took that into consideration, thought about it, and agreed to do a season 6. Now, I didn't know we were going to do an extended season. I didn't know that then. But then they were like, okay, so do 16 episodes. I was like, okay. When I agreed to a 6th season, I didn't know it was going to be that. But I do think that was speaking to the fact that there was a real appetite for the show still. And so I think we were like, okay. And we worked as hard as we've ever worked on that 6th season. I mean, we'd never done that before. We'd never done more than 10, but it felt almost like a network show. We were like, what? Okay, all right, okay. So it was such a crazy season. Season 6 is insane. We barely survived. And then season 7 was still an extended season, doing 12 episodes. So you technically y'all got an extra 8. Normally, I'm used to doing 10. So y'all got an extra 8. And then that's why for season 8, I did ask them. I said, we got to go back to 10 because it's just how I like telling story. It's how I've been used to telling story. And we just sort of like having the 5th episode be a lot of stuff going on. And then 9 is crazy. And then 10 the landing of the plane. So I did want to go back to that. But they were initially going to make a deal with us to do 8 and 9. And we'd never done that before. We'd always done it season to season. And that also made sense for us too, because it was like, all right, let's just the way you plan out your life. But then when I heard of do a season deal for 8 and 9, I'm like, there's no way we're not going to do a 10. And so that's when I'm kind of signing up really for another really 3 seasons. And I just, in terms of what I wanted to do and the things I wanted to explore, whether it be theater, and even though I got a chance to do theater while doing the show, which was a little exhausting and taxing. I was literally
we checked out Trinity. We love Trinity.
I was getting ready to say that. We came to see you in Trinity. We saw Peculiar Patriot too.
I appreciate y'all so much. And as you can see, well, you guys saw Trinity. I was in that. And so I would be doing table reads in the morning and it would be performing in the evening. And it was something that I was willing to do for that period of time. Trinity may be coming back. We'll be talking about in New York next year. So I think that of course I was going to do that. I wanted to finish strong and to be present for the Shy, but also, had to step up and be really present on stage at night for the audiences that were coming in. And they were robust audiences. And I want to make sure I'm always showing up as best I can. But I think sometimes I don't want to be juggling that many things. It can be sound cool and fun, but I'm just like, y'all, I don't want to be working on fumes at the end of the day all the time. And so, and I think something about 8 seasons, because there's always that conversation of being the longest running is what's cool. The coolest stat is like we are tied with the Cosby Show in terms of seasons. And that to me is something that I'm like, I mean, come on, talk about stats. It's sort of, it's like, LeBron likes to beat Jordan's stats. I don't mind meeting certain stats. And so, and so I just feel really honored to close it out at 8. It just made sense.
Well, let me say, because you took it right out of my mouth. When I look back on the Cosby Show having 8 seasons,
yeah,
and how culturally divine it was, and then here you come, 8 seasons, culturally divine, and I'm like, okay, they gonna just leave us now? I mean, we're talking years ago, but your show I'm not certain if it matches. I mean, I may give you maybe that much more over the Cosby
Mm.
Show, but I remember what the Cosby Show meant and felt to me.
Yeah, me too.
Your show took me just a little more over that edge because I'm gonna tell you, initially I had a time with these two because I
Uh-huh.
didn't agree with some of the things that were going on. They were trying to educate me as a man
I
on
remember.
how things are, and I'm I made it hard for them.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Even that is what brought that light to me because I
Mm.
thoroughly enjoyed your show, and
Thank
I don't know what else to do now. I guess I can my head to stand and just wait for something else.
Well, one of my things is I want to go back and rewatch everything all over again. I love doing that when shows end, just so I can go
Yeah.
back and reflect on everything from a different lens. So,
Yeah, that's true.
I want to know what you think too about, like, years from now when people are going back and rewatching this show. You know, what do you want the show's legacy to be? Not just as a television series, but like Ron said, like a cultural touchstone.
Wow. Well, I appreciate that. And thank you so much, Ron, for what you're saying too. I mean, wow, those are real words that I receive, because of what the Cosby Show meant to me, obviously. I mean, that's very known, in terms of Hillman grad and all this stuff. It's really where it began for me. And I think for me to be inspired and to grow up watching that show with my family, every week. And I remember watching the last episode when Cliff and Claire dance off into the stage. They sort of break the fourth wall for the first time ever. And you kind of realize, oh, this is a show. This is a TV show. It wasn't real. Okay, I thought y'all were like a real family. And in terms of what you're saying, Tierra, in terms of the show's legacy, I always say I think you guys will always determine what the legacy is. It's like what Ron just said. It's what you guys are saying to me now. This sort of feeling you get, because also I love Soul Food, the series that was on Showtime. I wanted to honor them as well this season in terms of that show being on television, because that was also very much a cultural touch point for me. Being in Chicago, watching it, and even though they're filming in Canada, it's all good. But that show, but then also the movie meant a ton to us. Like, anything filmed in Chicago, like we're just so proud and happy. But I hope that the show feels timely and timeless, and I think a big reason why we wanted to push the envelope and push us forward a little bit in terms of our thought, in terms of like the sex talk to me is one of, I think, the most important scenes, directed by Robert Townsend, of course.
That was amazing.
It was.
Thank you so much. In terms of what does the sex talk look like in 2026 between a father and his son, and what it has to look like is that there cannot be an assumption that his son is straight, and also it has to be a comfort in knowing that if you aren't, that's okay.
Right.
And that was something really, that we said we wanted in 10 years from now for somebody to watch that and go, oh, this feels modern. This feels now, even though it was done 10 years prior, because we said, let's look ahead rather than just sort of have our feet planted about where things are at this moment, like what could be. And I think that's really what we wanted to do with the show is to, and it's been so nice of reading so many beautiful pieces, whether it be, Ebony, Essence, and obviously the New York Times. Sometimes those big publications get a little bit more conversation, but beautifully written, obviously. And that it's cool to look at someone else looking at the show and reflecting it and saying it did something that a lot of shows don't really do, which is push conversations forward and introduce new thought. And so I hope that's always the show's legacy.
Well, just know that you have supporters in us for life, and anything you do, we've been with you with 20s. We still harp about 20s and like, what's
20s.
going to happen with, like, are they ever going to bring it back?
That was one of my questions I was about to ask, if we were going to
Look,
get a 20s
I'm
movie.
I'm developing something right now with Paramount that is called 40s. As I'm in my early 40s. I'm 42 now, and so I'm still early days, but I'm learning so much about myself and still growing up, and just because still becoming myself. And so I thought my 20s were so interesting, and they were. It's very much loosely based on mine, moving to a new city, chasing a dream, and all of that stuff. And then it's like when you're in your 40s, what happens when you've caught the dream? And what happens when you've gotten the girl and then you mess it up with the girl and then you try to find a new, like, it's like, oh, wait, what? I thought I'd kind of figured things out. And then you realize, like, no, I'm still figuring out who I am and what I want. And that's something I didn't think I would still be thinking about in my 40s. And so that's sort of what we're working on. And Paramount's super excited about that. And I'm excited about, Yeah, writing something for because obviously a lot of my friends are in their 40s and we're all having just really interesting conversations about like do we want kids, like how is marriage treating you, like who like what do you think about monogamy now? We're just having and then also parents, like people are losing parents and that is something, people getting divorced, like like my first friend got separated. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Like it's just like we're just like discovering things for ourselves and it's a different world. Like in our being in 2026, being 42 is not what it was in like 94 or 96. It's different. And so we're kind of navigating things and I think it'll be a really interesting show.
Yeah, if
I'm
you
looking
need some
forward
help,
to that. That sounds hot.
if you need some help with that, just let me know.
Okay, you're like Lena. I've been there, done that.
Yep,
Hopefully it
yep,
gets easier.
yep,
I'm here.
yep.
You know what
Hope
it
it gets
does?
easier.
No, it doesn't actually, because a person that has the gift that you have, you'll be doing this in your 80s. So,
Mm, come
so
on.
it's not, so, and a lot of people have that misconception that when you get a certain age, you begin to slow down. But God keeps us here after a certain age because you got more to do.
Come on.
Don't think that your time will slow down in your 40s. It's only going to speed up.
Wow.
Just get ready for the burst because that's what happens. You don't slow down.
Wow, that's real. I received that. I received that, and I think I'm just much more reflective. Well, obviously I'm very reflective. I think these past couple of days, but I think in reflecting back, I definitely think I thought I knew things. Like I was like, oh, I figured stuff out. I was really trying to figure out what kind of leader I wanted to be, and keeping my head on the swivel with this show in terms of actors coming in and coming out, and really just trying to show up for the whole cast, for the crew. And wasn't always in Chicago. I was here in LA and looking at, scripts and doing passes and looking at cuts and doing virtual table reads. And so I had to really lean in and they felt my presence. Obviously I pulled up for the last episode, but they felt my presence and no matter what I had going on. No
Mhm.
matter what, and they would see me going on to doing things. They're like, "Look at Lena over here. Look at Lena." Da, 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 da. And so there was always a lot of love and pride in that. But they knew that the Shy was always my home base. It was always my mothership, and I was never going to let it slip through my fingers. And I think now it is about what is new. It's like, and I get it. Like the Insecure tour is happening. People look back on old shows, and I totally get that. And I'm super excited for Issa and the crew. And I think for me, in 10 years, we'll do a reunion show. We'll gather the group back together. But I think right now, I don't want to focus on a spinoff. I want to go write something new and discover something new about myself at this point in my life.
Yeah, because
I
brothers,
love that.
brothers that have sons, just with this one episode, brothers that have sons that don't know, may inside want to have a discussion about sex, don't know how. You
Mm.
gave them
That was the template.
Yeah, you gave a template
Ooh.
on how to do that. That's that's not only just wisdom, but you're planting the seeds for someone to cultivate and let something grow. So you that's why I said your show was so culturally divine because you had seeds that will grow. And
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
and even though we all knew it was a show, but while watching it, it wasn't a show. I was part of it.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
what
hear
part. I mean, I don't know who I was, but I know I was part of
that. Yeah, probably Darnell most of the time. I
Right.
it.
Darnell is
Honestly,
that
it's the
old
earpiece.
school. Yeah, that earpiece, the
Yeah,
earpiece.
that's me.
Papa can be old school sometimes. No, I hear that and I receive it. And I think, and I relate to it. I think, when I would be watching A Different World or episodes of Soul Food, like I just would see myself. And I think it just really inspired me to want to write something that people saw themselves in as well. And I can feel it. I can feel what people are saying, like, oh no, these are our people. What's going on? But that's why, and I love rerun. I rewatch A Different World all the time. Like I'll go back and look at old episode Martin. I'll go back and look at old things because it reminds me of a time in my life, and it reminds me of it just brings that nostalgia, that feeling back. And also, when I know what they're gonna say before they say it, I'm mouthing the words and stuff. But I don't know. It just makes me happy, and so I'm glad that I could put something out into the world that makes people feel a way that I get to feel when I watch shows that inspire me.
Mm-hmm. And before I close out, Tiff, I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I may have said this to Lena before, that I kind of look at her and Issa and Quinta and all of you guys being like the Rat Pack, your own Brat Pack and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm, super proud of you guys. And I wanted to touch on something you said about Jacob Lattimore being the number one on the call sheet because
Mm-hmm.
it was amazing how the Shy pivoted after the first couple of
Yeah.
seasons and
Yeah.
stuff. The trajectory of it changed, and how he just naturally stepped into that role, grew up right on stage. And piggybacking on Ron's comments about the conversations with father and son, Emmett and Devontae, I was proud of the sex talk, but I was really proud of Devontae in that final season, I mean, episode, when he took the ring and how emotional he got. That exchange between him and Emmett,
Yeah.
that moved me and made me well up, especially when I saw how emotional Devontae got. He was just
Yes.
like, I won't let you down. So I
Yes.
just was like, I thought that was a master class too, in
Oh,
showing the world publicly, especially men and our Black men,
come
it's
on.
okay for us to express ourselves emotionally and be vulnerable and everything. I mean, that I appreciated that scene so much, and I thought it was very necessary.
Okay,
Wow.
Jeff,
Thank you so
wait a
much.
minute, stop. You about
No,
to,
no.
yeah, no, I ain't trying now. This,
Look, I didn't expect, we didn't, we knew, I don't know, there was something about it, because obviously Devontae's been through a lot that last season, and him moving in with his dad, very Boys in the Hood, reference point, mom dropping him off. But I think we didn't know how much he needed to have that time with his dad. And I think Emmett obviously felt overwhelmed and sort of like, another kid in this house. Yes, it's his kid, but he's like, but I'm used to getting him on weekends. And so when Devontae, the young actor, got emotional there, it just made so much sense. And I saw it in the cut. And I said, "Oh, that's phenomenal." And my favorite moment from that scene is the pan to Darnell witnessing it
Yes.
and being like, and then no, not being a line, but I love Orlando. He's amazing, and he just the look he gives Emmett is almost like, "Yep, generational curse broken. You've done the work that I wasn't able to do, and now we continue, and now we walk forward." And it gets me too every time, every time.
Amazing scene.
Yeah, and I think with this show, you have accomplished so much. I don't know if people have really stopped to appreciate it. Like you said, it might even be ahead of its time. But when people go back and rewatch and see some of the topics you touched on, some of the conversations that are had that were way ahead of their time, I think that the appreciation is going to continue to grow. Even with as much love as it's receiving now, I think it'll be even greater in years to come.
Wow.
And, that just speaks so much to you and your team and the whole cast and crew. We can't say enough how much we appreciate this show. So thank you so much, not only
Oh,
for just creating this show and putting your vision out there and protecting the real Chicago that you know and love, and sharing that with us, but also for just the lessons along the way, and everything that you have given us. Thank you for all that you are. I mean, that's the best way to
Yes.
sum it up.
absolutely.
y'all are the
So
best.
we appreciate your time too. You have been more than generous with us and our channel. Like I said, the opening, you have done the posters and the show merch and whatnot, and it's like so many things that you did not have to do that you do, and we can't express enough how much we appreciate it.
And that
You are a fan
sweatshirt,
forever.
and that sweatshirt, when I wear that sweatshirt,
I
I
always wear my
while
sweatshirt.
it was a little warm outside. But so many people are like, where'd you get that sweatshirt? I'm like, that's just for me to know.
You can say,
I
look,
say I got,
I'm squad. That's
yeah,
what I was
That's
like,
great.
I love that y'all got the shout in the New York Times. They asked me like which ones I watched, and I was like, I gotta put the spot real talk in there. So for y'all to get that
Thank
was really
you.
important
And
for
I
me.
thank
that's
you. I
good. Yeah.
subscribe to the New York Times too, so it is amazing to see that. And Lena, I know I told you I'm traveling. I got my Hillman grab bag with me too.
Come on.
I travel with my Hillman grab bag.
Oh, y'all are the realest, truly. Y'all get the game
I do.
ball. Y'all get the game ball. Okay. Thank God I don't get the hands for the finale. I felt
No.
like y'all were pleased.
Oh,
But
yeah.
but no, but I'm really grateful for all the hours, the time, the conversations. Y'all, I know that you guys have jobs, you guys have lives, and so for y'all to make time in your schedules to talk about the show and so many other shows, particularly Black shows, that we don't always get the love that we deserve and that we feel like we should. And so for folks like y'all to lift us up, to talk to our cast, to talk about the show in ways in which I listen, I watch, I hear, it means something to me to hear the conversations y'all are having and the thoughts you guys have and the things that you guys are thinking about. It just means a ton. And you guys are one of the things, that I'll miss the most about doing the show. But, hopefully we'll get another show up,
I was going to
do it
say,
again.
We on it.
I hope we stay locked in.
We will. I'm working right now. Okay, I got this is a movie over here. This like I'm doing these cards. I gotta get into that today. But we want to keep bringing stuff that y'all want to talk about. And then I can come on and talk to y'all about. So this is just again, every ending is what a new
New
beginning.
beginning.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for your time, Lena. We
Thank
love you
you.
forever.
And we'll be at the play. We'll be at the play too.
Come through.
If you're
Come
going to
see
New York, we
Barking,
come.
please. Barking. Okay, August 14th through September 6th with a possible ability to extend. The theater is something I'm definitely getting into. So I want to see y'all live in the
Yeah.
flesh.
Yes,
We would love
we've
that.
been to 2 of them so
Come
far,
on,
so
I
we'll pull up
appreciate
with you.
it. It means the
Yeah.
world. I'm gonna keep doing it. The theater, I ain't letting it go.
Don't
All
let
That's
it
right.
right.
go.
All
Good,
right.
good.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
We
Thank
love
Thank you.
you. We
y'all.
love
Thank
you.
you.
Shout
I
out
love y'all
Filming
too.
Grad, uh, DeAndre,
Everybody.
Quincy,
Yes.
Justin,
Shout
your
out
whole
the
crew,
whole
Brooklyn
squad. Yes,
squad.
always, always. Brooklyn gets it done. Love y'all. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a beautiful weekend.
Thank
Appreciate
You
you,
y'all.
man.
too. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Peace. Later.
Peace.
Bye.